Hello and welcome back to episode 2 now of the C63 Daily series. Still very much enjoying the C63, it must be said. It's working out to be a pretty effective daily. It's doing everything I'm asking of it. I still haven't done too much miles in it though, just a couple of hundred miles, so a little bit early to be talking about, fuel economy and stuff like that. Although I understand that's relevant if we're talking about a daily driver. It needs to be, viable from that sense. We're very much into winter now, so there's not many shows going on or anything like that, but I have just given this car its very first wash in my ownership, and I've hit it with some new products I'm looking to sort of try out. Well, first of all, it got a snow foam with Auto Glim, Polar Blast. Then I've hit it with Built Hamber shampoo. When I've cleaned the wheels, I've put some wet coat on them because that apparently has good sort of self-cleaning properties and stuff like that. So, which means that next time I go to wash the wheels, I won't need to use any harsh chemicals or anything like that. For the paintwork, I've used FaneLab Hybrid Ceramic Detailer, which comes very highly rated, so it certainly went on easy. It apparently lasts for a few months, so we'll see what that does. And finally, for the glass, I've used a couple of products from Soft 99, the glass compound and the coating as well. So this car has, it was already ceramic coated before I bought it, but now this thing should be ridiculously easy to sort of maintain a level of cleanliness over the winter months. Now, again, because of the time of year it is, we can't really do anything crazy with the car, but what we can do is lots of little improvements in the interior, and that's what the next few videos will cover. Essentially, this episode now is going to be focused on the infotainment. So I'm going to explain how I have put in Apple CarPlay to this car. So enjoy. Okay, getting started with this Mr12Volt Apple CarPlay installation then on the W204. The system works wirelessly via Bluetooth, but I like to have a wired connection available as well. Now you can see here in the cubby that there is a USB port already there, but that won't actually connect to the Mr12Volt, because as we can see in the kit, there is this USB fly lead that comes with the harness. We want to make a connection to that. What I have done, just a bit of a test, is I've just bought another one of these panels here just to see if one of these would fit, and I'm pleased to report it does. But what this is here is a flush mount USB 3 from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. But essentially, I've plumbed that in there. That presents, as you can see, to a USB-A. So that connection there will just go straight into our USB fly lead here, and that will give us our direct connection. Now, it does make the installation a little bit more complicated because we have to plumb everything in here, but I think this whole piece here does have a cable run going straight down the center of it, so it shouldn't be that difficult to put something in here and then just feed the cables all the way through. I'll have to take this bit off here, but I'm hoping I can just sort of push the cables through this way, grab them at some point here, and then just feed them up through there. But yeah, let's get cracking. Okay, wiring wise on this thing, there's essentially three things we have to do, represented by the three sort of cables that the kit comes with. There's this this thing, which we'll get to in a sec. There's the fiber optics, which I'll show you what to do with that in a sec. And then there's the main loom here. The main loom's pretty simple. We basically take, this is obviously from the car. So the only thing we need to do with this is we need to remove the fiber optics from that first. So let's do that. This is the fiber removed from the main loom, and then what we need to do is take this, plug it in to this. Right, I forgot to mention, you do have to put this little adapter onto the car wiring first, otherwise it won't fit. So that's clipped on there. It converts it to just a bigger plug basically. Okay, now we've got our fiber hooked up. So that one there goes into the loom that comes with the kit, and then this one goes into the Mr12Volt. Okay, that's now in place, reinstalled into the loom from the kit. Goes into the outside one. Only goes in one way round, so you can't really get it wrong. But what I'm going to do now is just start to feed through the cables that go to the Mr12Volt through the side here, because I think I'll mount the 12-volt Mr12Volt thing in there somewhere. So that's all hooked up now. That's the main loom from the kit hooked up to the main loom from the car. Fiber optics rerouted as mentioned, and then this is like the main bit that goes into the Mr12Volt unit. So we'll just feed that through same places where that fiber's coming from. And then the only other thing we need to do with this part is the USB fly lead, which we'll get to in a second. Right, final bit to muck around with at the back of this unit then is, if I can just get around, I think it's this one we need to take out, and then that goes into here, and then we take that and put it in its place, and then this goes into the back of the Mr12Volt box. So let's crack on with that. Okay, update time. Yeah, I've managed to feed the USB through to here. I think what I'll do, I will then try to feed the other end of it into this section here. It'd be quite handy actually if that's the case, because all this is like really easy to get off. It just all pops off basically. You take the boot off here, and then this whole panel just lifts out. It's pretty easy. So it might be good to sort of hide that connection in here. I fed this through by I think what I ended up doing, let me just check. Yeah, I actually took this out, and I didn't need to, because the way I got the cable out was I actually went underneath here and just stuck my hand up there, and I could just grab the USB. I found it pretty easily actually. So taking this off is a waste of time. So if you're planning to do this, don't bother doing that bit. Not that it's difficult, it just sort of clips in and it's held in with 2 screws behind there. But yeah, that's where we are. One thing that might be difficult is actually getting this back in. The loom for this thing is really big and bulky, so we're going to have to find a way of tucking it away somewhere. Otherwise, this just isn't going to go back in the hole. Actually fitting this up inside there nice and neat, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, going well so far. Okay, update. So we're in the back now. The plan is so that this section here is where your rear vents go. This just pulled right off upwards. Now these are the rear bolts here to hold this whole thing on. At the front, there's one bolt at the front, but it's kind of on a hinge, so I am able to like lift this up, this whole thing, which is pretty handy. And that should be all I need to do, because there's a screw under here, another Torx 20, you can feel it there with my finger, that holds this in here. So the plan is undo that screw, take that out. There's a whole bunch of clips and stuff for this. Take that out, put the new one in, and feed the USB through that cable run there all the way to the gear selector there, where the USB from that unit there is waiting for it. That's the plan. I'll let you know how I'll get on in a sec. Right, slight update. Didn't go quite to plan. What I ended up doing was this car for some reason has some kind of telephone system or something like that, which means it's got this weird I don't even know what that connector is. So it differs from the usual, you know, when you get connectors like this, they've got a short tail and you can just unplug them. That it doesn't unplug. I mean, it goes all the way through. It goes all the way through there. You can just sort of see it there. I don't know where it connects. I didn't actually get up there and have a look, to be honest. But what I've done instead, because I couldn't disconnect that and I didn't want to cut it, I just took out the USB that was in there. But yeah, I managed to get it out. Fed my USB 3 USB flush mount in there. And yeah, the cable run that goes all the way through enabled me to just push the cable all the way through until it came out of here. As you can see, I've got one end there, and then that's where it's got to connect to. So plenty of length available there. I didn't need an extension in the end. So what I'm going to do is, I'm already on reassembly. I'm going to put all this back together back here. Hook this up, as this is a right-hand drive. I think I'm going to feed the cables around to the left because there's more room there. Tape it up, feed the excess through, back through the cable tunnel thing under here, and then just put everything back together again. So there we go. So now, if we just take the shifter off, you can see I've got my USB connection just there. So with all the cables hooked up, the next stage is to sort of activate the system. And what you can see me doing here, there's a thing that you have to do, is you have to sort of hold down the back and cancel buttons on the sort of control wheel panel bit, and that activates the box. And then that, yeah, the Mr12Volt box then takes over the video channel. So that then becomes, it's kind of repurposed that channel for Apple CarPlay and whatever else. But I mean, I don't know if I was doing it in slightly the wrong order or something, but it did take me like 4 or 5 attempts of doing that for it to actually spring into life. But yeah, it did eventually spring into life. So yeah, this is just me watching the Mr12Volt tutorial on YouTube, just to make sure that I was getting it right. Okay, so I'll show you how this works in practice then, this Apple CarPlay. So I've got our phone here. So what I would do, the way I've set up my system, I'll go in here. I've got my USB 3 here. I plug in. Yeah, shove that away in there so it's out of the way. Now, the Apple CarPlay, like I say, it hijacks the TV function, which is in, oh no, I'll go up. It's in the video bit here. So if we go in there, there we go. We've got Apple CarPlay. So it's hooked up to the phone now. You see I've got Waze on at the moment. We go back into here. Now the only thing is it's not touchscreen. So I am using this this wheel to navigate around, but actually it's not that bad. Like, it's really not that bad. Could definitely get used to it. And then yeah, from here you navigate to, you know, music, podcast, whatever you want to do, maps, and it's as simple as that. And then if you want to come out of it, you hit the cancel button down here, then you can go back to radio or whatever. So there you go. It's a bit of a nightmare, like cabling wise. There's a hell of a lot of cabling you need to put in, and there just isn't much room behind the head unit here. So it's a bit of a struggle, if I'm honest, to get everything buttoned back up again. But apart from that, it's relatively straightforward because obviously the kit is designed to be plug and play, and it is. There's no splicing of any wires or anything like that. It was all good, and I have to say it works great. I mean, I'm using it now. I've just got Waze on the screen at the moment. It's just warned me that there's a speed camera coming up, and you know, my phone is tucked away in the cubby, charging at the same time. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more, if you want to follow the journey through this C63 Daily Driver series. But yeah, thanks again, and I'll see you again next time.